back to Tina's Hideaway. Today we have some bees that we collected from my 2 dead colonies of bees outside. This is part of an investigation I'm doing to try to figure out why did my bees die. So even though they're dead, I can still collect them and at least get a mite count. So what I'm looking for is to see what percentage of mites there is, because that could explain to me as far as why they died. In the last video that I did, I collected them and there was plenty of honey, so they had plenty of food. So now I'm leaning towards it could be a mite issue. So we're gonna get started. So we got hive 1 and hive 2. I wanted to know which bees came from which hives. So we got hive 1, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take some rubbing alcohol, and I have a half a cup of bees in this mason jar, and I'm just gonna cover the bees with the rubbing alcohol. And actually, I'm gonna just pour it on both of them right away. This is just hardware cloth, so any of that screen that you would normally use to put on your screen doors, so that is what this is, and I just cut it down to size so it fits, and then you can use the ring from when you can, and you can put it on there, and when you do that, you have it's kind of like a little filter on top, but it holds it on there. And then we just want to swirl these bees around. I'll get this one going too right away. So we just swirl these around, and we want to do that for about a minute. Okay, that was about a minute of mixing. I didn't need you guys to sit here and watch that whole thing. I do want to let you know right away, this is my first alcohol wash I do. I typically do the powdered sugar method, because then when I do that, the bees are usually alive, and then they stay alive. And after you're done with that method, you just pour them right back into the hive. The other bees help clean them up, and you don't have to worry about anything. But since these bees are already dead, I don't have to worry about killing part of my colony. So I'm going to take this, and we got hive 1, and I labeled my coffee filters just so I don't get them screwed up with doing this. We're going to take a spare mason jar, and I just have a little strainer here, which I'm going to put on top of there, and put my coffee filter in here. And then with this screen on, I'm going to pour the alcohol. I can already see a lot of mites in here. So okay, what we're doing now is we're letting the alcohol drain into this other mason jar, but I wanted you to see, you see those little brown specks in there? Those are mites. What we're going to do is take the amount of mites we find, divide it by 300. And that should give us our percentage of mites that are in this colony. So it's just a matter of letting this drain, but yeah, there are definitely some mites in there. So I'm just going to let this coffee filter drain. So it just takes a little bit longer with that, but I want to make sure no mites get into my alcohol, because I can reuse this alcohol for the next time I do an alcohol test. So we'll just let this drain and we'll be back. So we're back, and we did strain both jars from both hives, because watching the alcohol drain through those coffee filters is almost as bad as watching paint dry. So here we are with the results. So if you look here, we got hive 1 and hive 2. There was quite a bit of mites. Hive 1 had 18 of them, and hive 2 had 17 of them. And there's some other junk in there too, but you can see the mites. They're, you know, they stick out pretty good. And with having the white coffee filter, that really helps them come out. So part of what this is telling me is maybe the powdered sugar method isn't the best route to go for doing mite checks. Maybe the alcohol method is better. At the end of the year, my mite counts were low. And I think I did mite checks probably around October sometime, and they were down to the 1%. So, and usually you want 1% or less of mites going into winter. So with hive 1, with having the 18 mites, And that's, you divide that number 18, divide it by 300, because there's approximately 300 bees in each of these jars. So that came to 6%. So that means there's 6 mites per every 100 bees. And we want it to be 1 mite or less per 100 bees. This hive, hive 2, had 17, so 17 divided by 300 is just over 5.5% mite count. So more than likely that is very much probably what killed both of my hives. Tell me in the comments what your guys' experience has been with powdered sugar method testing versus alcohol method testing. I've always stayed with the powdered sugar method because I didn't want to sacrifice 300 bees going into winter, but maybe if it's a more accurate method of testing, maybe it is more worthwhile to do. So I'm curious on what your guys' experiences are with that. Maybe this can be a learning experience for me. Maybe sacrificing 300 bees in the end going into winter is better than having to replace the whole colony of bees, which in my area, a colony of bees is just over $150. My plan was going into spring to have 4 colonies. Now I'm starting with 0, so that adds up pretty quick and gets pretty expensive. So this was my first time doing an alcohol wash. It definitely did show me that mites were my problem. That's probably what killed my bees. But I can always take it away as a learning experience and do better next year. So I hope this was informative for you. Please like and subscribe. Hit that notification button so when we do get the new bees in spring, you can see us installing them and learn that whole process. I'm excited for it, and have a great day.